Well, welcome everyone back to the PPC Brazil. You can't see her, she's just off camera, but Bellini is also tired from the long flight from Europe that we just had. And there's her little ear poking up in the bottom corner. Either way, I think everyone's excited as we move forward into this set. One team that is still looking for their first win there in Tempest Kresnik. And I mean, at this point, they're just clawing at whatever they can get. Brazil was one of those interesting regions, though, when we saw the standings yesterday. There's one team, that Parallax, as everyone has seen all year, that's just crawled up to the top, 3 teams in the middle, and then 2 teams at the bottom. So this is the chance to maybe punch upwards a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Ignite is a team that they were playing against quite a bit, I'm assuming, just judging by scrims, right? Neither of these teams were in the PPC before, and now they've both managed to make it in through the relegations, beating out the remnants of Spalamansa and Team Clarity down there for it. So Tempest, clearly comfortable playing against this team, even after Ignite have kind of skyrocketed, I would say, pretty high up in that Brazilian region compared to where they came from, kind of brawling out with the likes of Carnage and In Control, who were up there in the last phase, with Parallax kind of screeching away. They're going to have to keep playing and keep getting wins against these lower teams, potentially like Tempest, to keep themselves established here. I do have the map bans, though, really quick. I will go into that before I get this ready. Tempest team banned Warders Gate and Fish Market, and Ignite Gaming banned Jaguar Falls and Ice Mines.
Well, hey, already, Tempest, love you. You banned out Ice Mines. You get my heart. But you also banned Jag Falls, so net neutral at the end of the day, right? I think it's interesting. Warders Gate keeps coming up in the bans, and I feel like it's going to be a theme. Not a lot of people pick that map, let alone want it to be picked. But it's still one of those maps that I personally just miss seeing throughout the league and the way the games have been going. But, I mean, it's all for nothing. It's not here.
Yeah, it's not. We're not going to have to worry about that for this set. No, they just don't want to play it because it's different, right? And it also wasn't in the rotation last phase, so a lot of these teams maybe didn't get that experience on it. But, I mean, a map that doesn't really get scrimmed or played very much, apparently a little bit more than we thought would be, like that Bazaar we got to see last round. So teams are clearly willing to pick up the maps like that, even with, I think, a lack of practice potentially. But Brightmarsh is where we're going to start, as I think expected, with the current map pool picks and bans now coming up on your screen and Gore's screen as well too, because I've changed some of the back end stuff for me.
We're fancy now, baby.
We're fancy now. I downloaded another virtual audio cable, and none of you could stop me. Now they can actually hear the audio on their side of things, but to get the pick bans going. But Tempest team, they lost the coin flip the first rotation of the round robin, so now they get to be the first pick this time. That's how it works for the first rotation of this phase. And Tempest wanting to go to Brightmarsh, so I hope they have a plan in mind to bring into this game against Ignite.
You know, there's actually a couple of things you've highlighted that I'm very excited to talk about, because this is a long phase. I mean, it's compared to phase 1
weeks.
That was nothing. I was going to say phase 1, that was a walk through the park. This is the true grind for a lot of these teams, especially with the roster changes. But like you said, we're also in a position where I believe we'll end up seeing the map pool change towards the latter half, or the latter couple of weeks at least of the phase. So it is interesting to see what that's going to be. I hope a lot of these people are still keeping that Serpent Beach ready, because otherwise they're going to be running out of it. But like you said, it's also different from phase 1 because they're going to be playing each other 3 times. So Ignite Gaming, like you said, got the first pick last time. Tempest team gets it this time, and then they will play each other at least one more time before this phase is done to determine seeding and stuff like that. I have no idea. Maybe it's a coin flip. Maybe it's losers pick.
Maybe
we'll have to see.
It could be higher in the seeds pick, maybe for the third rotation. I know that the first time it's a coin flip, winner gets first map pick. Second time, whoever lost it gets first next time. Maybe they just go back again for the third one for week 11 and onward. Which I don't know exactly when the patch comes out, when the upcoming patch comes out, but I'm pretty sure that if my mental timing is right, it should be around like week 10, week 11 of the PPC. So those last couple of weeks, that last round robin might be on a totally different meta.
Yeah, I'm mentally resetting myself right now because of how different Brazil and NA and EU all are, especially from what we just saw. I think we just saw a very kind of, I don't want to call it a bucket meta, but it felt very isolated. There's probably a bubble meta. That's the word.
Okay,
it's a different B word.
I was really reaching for bucket meta.
What is a bucket? Yeah, no, a bubble meta. It feels like something that occurred not only through some of the top teams in Europe, but maybe something that we would only see over there. But, you know, now we're starting to see picks. Cassie isn't someone we see often, Kresnik, and she's still locked in here for Ignite Gaming.
I think they think she's okay into Vivian, just like the knockback to make her a little bit less accurate, but she's still, I think, perfectly accurate when she's aiming down those iron sights, so maybe it'd be not as worthwhile. And we're even seeing picks like Grover going over Corvus. That CC, I think, really valuable for a lot of teams. They love those roots, having the ability to bounce that off of that Inara, and just kind of CCing the entire team and slowing them down. And I can't type as I put a greater than sign in that one, which Gore can't see anymore, but Maeve is the next pick for Ignite. So Cassie and Maeve is getting way up in popularity these days. I think she kind of went from nothing to people went, oh, well, hey, it's a flanker that if we play smart enough, we can win fights against these auto characters. Maybe they're picking it to fight that Vivian, or at least to get away from that Vivian when they get caught off guard. A lot of mobility will let you pick and choose your fights.
It's also interesting because Maeve, I think when it comes down to locking down Vivian, like, that's not easy to do, man. Like, she is so survivable in the backline, especially right now, until I believe we saw a little bit of a teaser there on Twitter about what it looked like 6 different Vivian nerfs. I'd have to go through and count them again. It was a lot of black bars under Vivian. So if you're a Vivian main, maybe you're crying. If you're a pro, you're happy about it. But until that starts to happen, it's going to be, even for Maeve, I think a little difficult to get back there consistently. Still, she's got one job here, and it's going to be kill her off as often as you can.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for that Maeve to fight into that Buck Talus, I think, is going to be one big part of it. With Tempest team, with an interesting draft for them, one of those, Vivian or Talus, is not going to a console player. Ganshi mixed, I'm not sure how you say the end of his name, but I know Ganshi for sure is how you say that. One of them is not going to him. He's going to be either on this Talus or this Vivian. My guess is the Talus. I feel like I've seen him play that a little bit more often, but either way, these flankers are going to bully out this Maeve, and I think it's about if the ROM can kind of slip past them and get onto this Grover, specifically him, because the Vivian can just walk away. Vivian can just win that duel. I mean, flashback to me watching ROM. I'm like, ROM wins this. I went to the ROM's POV, and then I just see Ninu's health bar on that Vivian unmoving, straight one-on-one fight. I'm like, oh, I guess Vivian just wins this 1v2, huh? So has to be that Grover, I think, that ROM pressures. Otherwise, not as much might get done.
It's it's gonna be a lot, I think, for Tempest team here. I like what they're bringing. I think Talus, again, something maybe very Brazilian, at least in terms of meta right now. The Buck is a little shaky for me on Brightmarsh. It's not necessarily the map I think of when I see Buck and what I expect out of him. Right now, that's almost exclusively reserved for Splitstone, so we'll have to see if Tempest team can make it look good here. But it's a lot of survivability that they're bringing in. Ignite, on the other side, are bringing a lot of kill potential. So when the two clash in the middle, Cauterize speaks true. I think we'll end up seeing Ignite maybe start to crush them, but we'll have to see how that does translate as we move forward into Brightmarsh. And Nara, Rom, Cassie, Corvus, again, the 4 just alone really are going to sell me. Maeve as well is just kind of a cherry on top for that. I really like Ignite Gaming's draft.
Yeah, I agree, and actually the reason I was a little distracted there, I was trying to see there's actually a new player in for Tempest team. I'll bring up the game right now so you guys can see as well. I'm assuming that's Walther backwards. I'm just going to call him Walther this game and not Retlaw. On the Vivian, I'm not sure if he's on controller or mouse and keyboard. Just a player I really haven't seen before, so I was checking to see if it had been reported anywhere, and it actually hasn't. So, new player, it looks like he's in place of Darius. Not sure if it's a sub or not, but we'll see how he looks with them. If it looks good, maybe he's just a new addition. They want more flexibility. Maybe they want to play some triple DPS, which we haven't seen too much out of them before now.
All right, Kresnik, before I get into anything for the game, I'm going to go ahead and say you just blew my mind, because I have a friend whose tag is Retlaw, and his name is Walter, and I never realized until just this moment that was what it is. My mind is shattered, and much like this percentage is being shattered by Ignite Gaming, I feel like an idiot already, and I admitted that live on the internet. So you and Paladins chat know that more than anybody else. I am confirmed dumb sometimes when it comes down to at least player names. We'll have to see how this Vivian does, though, for Tempest team, as you highlighted. Maybe somebody fresh on the roster trying to pick things up. Still looking for their first win, as Ignite Gaming are looking to try and climb in the standings. It was all a bunch of map differential that was separating them. As of right now, it's 69% to 51. No first blood as of yet. No one's been able to lock down just enough.
I didn't even realize that no one had gone down yet. Ornstein might be the first one, though. Caught on the point. Talus running at him, but has to go back to the Rune of Travel, and only Nando looking at him, and Nando's not going to do any damage, but this might be a fight you really don't want to take. Vivian and Talus, but the Roam's intimidating. They run away, but still, he ends up getting traded for First Blood Redemption. Finding that route, I think stopping the run, and Tempest team, their percentage still climbing.
Locking them down right where they needed, 93 to 84. The control looking to shift in favor of Tempest, but can they hold on to it? It's going to be contested. Nara standing there alone. Retlaw looking to try and get a little bit of damage, and Penny's going to go down because of it. Everybody on Tempest team is standing there in control of the point. They're going to hit 99%. Now they just have to do what they did last time. Lock down Ornn like it's nothing, which is not necessarily an easy thing to do. You can see the health bar trying to stay up. They're going to be able to do it. The damage might still ring true for Ignite. It doesn't look like they're going to have enough to lock down overtime. At this point, you're just throwing bodies onto the stack. That's going to end up paying off for Tempest team. They grab point number 1, a few extra credits from those kills. They're going to start off this 2.5 minutes with a push.
And Buck, I think, having a decent performance, as we always expect to see from him in Brazil. Just a character that they really value, wins these trades quite a bit, doesn't really get dueled as much. They also ban in ways, I think, that help him out. Genos kind of taken out quite a bit of the time, maybe not valued as much. He really kind of counters Buck, so not seeing him means Buck will have a lot of free time. But aggression right now from Penny, finding Insane on this Fernando, making him leave 3 people in front of him. He gets Seismic Crasher leave, and it looks like he's just gonna bail with everybody stuck in trees staring at him. But with no kills being traded, Tempest, they can just heal back up with this Grover. That's the big advantage of him, and they can't even finish off this Buck. Everyone back to full HP and Ignite. Health bars are low and kind of staying that way.
You know, Kresnik, sometimes it just got to dip, and I think that's what Penny is kind of recognizing. You can hold on as best you can. A minute has passed. The push has started. Damage is looking good, but Dejavu goes down. Now they're starting to find themselves in an awkward position. 4v5. Yes, defender's advantage exists, but it only matters if you're able to come up and get back into this. Penny is so low, and they're going to get staggered out. Still a 4v5 with the Mave respawning. Ornn might go down, and that might trade this even more in favor of Tempest team. Ults are starting to come up. Talus specifically might be able to keep this one rolling forward. They've got a minute to work with. That's forever on Brightmarsh.
Especially when it's this close with 2 people still down. Let's see. Let's go top down maybe and see exactly how close this cart is. Shapiro holding this right side. Penny moving in. Wall contest will help Snake with the Void. Drops it immediately. Penny's going to take a lot of early damage, but the rest of them kind of getting knocked down. But again, this Grover will keep them all up and going for quite a while. They have to disengage from the Midnight.
And Penny's having to do a very awkward dance right there, just teetering on the edge. Both tanks here for Ignite, making sure that payload doesn't move forward. But you lose Ornn, he's getting aggressive into the backline, looking for the kill, but he's not going to be able to find that one just yet. Penny as well steps off. If anyone from Tempest was on the payload, or at least able to get there safely, they might be able to roll that one in awkwardly. As of now, they still find a kill onto the off tank. Ignite Gaming stuck in a 4v5. Cassie finding some good damage. Penny, luckily that wall snafu earlier didn't cost them their lives, and now they're still able to hold up. There's going to be Talus going immediately for the support. Burns down 1 and looks to try and strike first here. 13 seconds still left on the clock. The shots are ringing true for the Buck. Get rid of Penny, and this all becomes so easy, but it's still a Nara, and she's still alive. Finally, they burn her down, and it looks like the kills are starting to come up. Blue overtime ringing true. It's just a matter of holding on to this. Ornn is so low and will get burned out. It's just a matter of time. The payload moves forward. Tempest find themselves 2-0.
I was going to say, they needed to either just everyone dive and burn down that Inara or kill the support, and killing the support was what worked. And I didn't realize this until now, but not a single person on Tempest has died. No one on Tempest has fallen. A perfect game so far from them. Complete, effective one-sided dominance, more or less. I think maybe they need Walther to be a little more aggressive, though. I feel weird criticizing a team that literally has not died until this point. But I think that fight would have ended so much faster if Walther pushed. We saw Shapiro doing it. Walther's pretty sustainable, too, especially with a Grover backing him up. Didn't push down Penny. Penny ended up living forever, and they had to spend that true power. Still, though, already, I think, back up to a pretty decent level on that ultimate, 53%, even after getting that kill. Gonchi also being able to pick up that life rip too. A lot of sustain he's going to have, but the early trades look like they're already in favor of Ignite. But again, a lot of sustain keeps him alive for now.
Have to keep your eyes on the ults. Rama about to charge his up, so expect that to come through. Seismic Crash thrown out by Penny. Looks like the lockdown, Immortal used in retaliation, but you still lose Gonchi, and that's going to be some pressure. Now Midnight even to lock down Tempest team. The only person who's still standing forward is this Fernando. I expect to see him die soon enough, but they're waiting so patiently. Finally, Insane goes down. You lose Kubies in the process. Hey, at the end of the day, You get rid of the tank, you maintain 60% if you're Ignite Gaming. That comeback mechanic, I always forget how fast you can capture this. They're almost at 100 already. It doesn't look like they're going to be met with many problems. Yeah, no one's going to be able to get in there from Tempest.
Gauntchi actually holds off on the ultimate. I think maybe if they could have forced the DR early, they could have went to the point with the true power without CC immunity to block it, but they don't spend it. And right now they're just playing this Nando shield like a stalwart shield for the team. They're playing him like a barrack that doesn't do damage when he can be a little more aggressive than that, but Insane still gets the kill with that Ornstein's Cataclysm, finds effectively nothing with the rotation from Tempest, and the sustain again paying off for Tempest even after losing that objective. Being able to have that Buck constantly getting healed up by this Grover. Let me see if he has any rapid sustain, just a little bit, but it will be enough to help him win this fight. And this looks like the start of a great aggressive zone and an aggressive fight taken by Tempest.
And this is something we typically see. I mean, a team that goes undying in round 1, they're going to have something good going for them in round 2. Even if they lose that point, you will find that they are, well, historically able to find a defense almost like it's nothing here. That's kind of what it feels like right now. Very good pressure still coming out from Tempest team. They've only lost 1 Talus, 1 Fernando. Otherwise, their kills have been coming up. Finally, Grover gets taken down, and that Midnight might be the key to reopening the door. Minute and 20, they're still going to be respawn Skresnik, but at least they're finally back on the payload if you're Ignite.
Ornstein, the fact that he lived as long as he did in the middle of them and then got a kill, tough for Tempest to end up losing that trade. Buck also losing a duel to Maeve. We're again seeing Maeve really climbing in value in this meta as there's more time for teams to experiment and figure out exactly what they want. The damage reduction, the long-range poke from Maeve, all these things super valuable, and I'm glad that we're seeing them come to the forefront. Now with Vivian very low, but Grover again, the constant healing will keep her going. Do that rotation out. Positioning, I think they need to take tree. They can't let Deja Vu get this high ground, and Shapiro knows that, so he'll take it and end up taking that duel on the side with them. And Ignite now a little bit surrounded without tree being controlled. This is could be something that spells the end of this push.
Yeah, this is not looking great. Penny able to stay a little alive there, and well, just barely for a little bit. They bought a few seconds. There's the right word and phrasing for it. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough. 21 seconds left. Everyone getting zoned out. Looks like dismounts will come through here as well as they get this aggressive. Not a good spot for Ignite Gaming. Rom going to dash forward. Not straight towards the payload. Doesn't want to lose his life that badly. And Nara's going to try to make the break for it, and they have to deal with this timer. 5 seconds left before they can get back in touch. Looks like they will get an overtime, but barely here for Penny. Turn around Fernando, you can find a kill. Shapiro able to get credit for that one. They're still keeping the pressure going. They lose Insane, they lose Gauntchi though in the trade. While they have a defender's advantage, this is a good pickup for Ignite to get back into this.
Look at Walther though, he's kind of stuck in the back for Tempest team. Spawn camping Inara, I guess, but he pulled Deja Vu back too. If he trades 1, that's great, but ends up shooting the Warders field instead. Unfortunate placement for Walther. Great by Penny to stop that. And pressuring Zed, still the name of the game for Gauntchi as they do that. But Ignite, they're willing to spend ultimates for this. That's surprising. Midnight used early, but no real engagement off of it.
Well, they're getting some good daggers. Midnight, like you said, not necessarily opening as much as we expect to see out of it. Seismic Crash even thrown out as well. Immortal has been used on the other side to keep things going their way. This payload's slowing down, but it's not stopped just yet. Finally, being held just a few feet from the conversion zone. Kill comes up. Deja Vu is out of there. The tanks are the ones that need to go now because Inara's still alive. Shapiro ends up losing their life. No DPS players to keep them moving forward. Penny goes down after the support, and now it's all once again left to Ornn. And unfortunately, there's only so much a solo Rom can do. Goes down there. Tempest team are up 3-1. Incredible start for this team. I mean, Tempest, again, they've been at the bottom. They haven't necessarily been able to do this. This is a huge scoreline for them, but it's not over yet. Ignite once again find themselves with that comeback mechanic.
And this is just what we always see in Brazil, right? The bottom teams are always competitive with the top, but when it comes to actually winning the map, what happens every single time, Gore? They just can't do it. It constantly happens. I mean, look, yesterday, 2 4-3s. On the against Fatal Ambition in a row. If I remember correctly, it was just really close maps that they just could not close out no matter how hard they tried. Tempest team, though, they're on the precipice of making it work, of taking a map off of Ignite Gaming, a team that, if I remember correctly, also in relegation swept them completely on one side.
Man, that would be incredible if they're able to pick up even just one map here, very similar to the last set. Just being able to find yourself one kick is going to be solid, but this is the time to do it. You have to get onto that point and hold on as best you can. 12% already here for Tempest. Sounds like Talus is going to be going deep into the backline. Unfortunately, though, there's going to be a tank there that blocks the last few killing blows. Cassie ends up living through that one. Insane barely makes it over that wall. And so they don't get the kill, but they do get the pressure. Point control goes over towards Ignite. And once again, Kresnik, that comeback mechanic doing work, already double and more what Tempest were able to pick up.
I was sorry, I was laughing because the ROM saved the Nando. The knockup from the Juggernaut was what let him go over the wall and kept him from being trapped in. So unlucky by Ornstein, but he still gets this push on the side on the later part of the fight. Talus following as well. Gaunt's been really important for them. With Redemption also completely isolated. I think Ornstein is doing a great job of splitting the team and forcing this whirlwind.
Be able to, like you said, force that whirlwind, get the heal reset up for Tempest, but now it's not there for the overtime, and unfortunately, Fernando is not looking too good in the health department. Gonna have to do as much as they can, but a big stun only comes out and connects on one, but it doesn't matter. It's enough to get Ignite on the board once again with the capture, but can they win the fight right afterward? That's the question. This push will get stalled. Ornn goes down, no one from Ignite around, so this payload is not going anywhere for a little while.
Yeah, Tempest team losing that engagement by the end because of a great wall from Penny on this tank, but they still lose that later fight. They have to spend this, and Immortal comes out every time, 1-for-1 on these ultimates, but Resilience will actually, I think, help Tempest keep winning that trade. Insane now, kind of isolated, surrounded on every single side, buys a ton of time though, but Redemption falls to the flank from Deja Vu.
They're getting aggressive as well. I'm keeping my eyes on that Midnight as it charges up. Deja Vu is doing wonderful so far this game. You had said, I mean, it's swept throughout relegations. It looks like this 3-1, that was the scoreline, now 3-2, might just turn into 3-3 as easy as it did. Well, it seemed to get up for Tempest. Started with a 2-0 for them as well. I mean, this is an incredible turnaround from Ignite. Right now, Tempest are just trying to regroup, figure out what they want to do. Vivian going to act essentially as nothing more than a glorified turret up here. Back up, heal up, come out, shoot as best you can. See what you can get. That's going to be the Entropic Breach getting thrown out. Doesn't seem like they're going to be able to find much. I don't know. I think he canceled it as he came down. So not even opening up the door. Willing to throw out ults for Ignite, but not committing to them. It's a little weird.
It was purely for survivability. It's a way that I think, legitimate way to use Corvusel. You get 50% damage reduction. You get Dove. Your team can't help you. All right, I'll just float and stare at you. We saw Bagel Wow doing it in the PCML earlier. This ult can't be canceled though. Midnight from Deja Vu walking in with both tanks collapsing, but no real follow-up. Just more poke.
Well, now the damage is there. Ganchi goes down, and any kill against Tempest is a good opening for Ignite to get aggressive. Cassie's holding a good angle, but to be able to get in there with Insane gone. That opens up a lot of conversation. Shapiro falls right after that, and they're just looking for the last little bit of damage. That Grover trying to stay alive, but the Vine can only get you so far. Ignite, tie this one up. Much like Game 1 in Europe, we're going to a max link Brightmarsh. Europe was able to do it in 4-2. One of these teams has to win this round, though. And Kresnik, the first thing I saw when you brought up the KDs immediately was that Ornn is 3-10, even though their team has been finding a lot of success here.
That's the ROM effect, though. When you're playing into those champs on the other side, Vivian is going to shred you, Talus is going to shred you. You're kind of just feeding them some resources a little bit at the time. You're giving that Vivian ult charge to have some more sentinels out. You're giving Talus a lot of lifesteal. You can tell Ganchi pushing that life rip just so we can have that stack on top of the, I don't remember the name of the card off the top of my head. I know he has it in his build, so I'll just jump to that right now to see the Primeval Might. So the lifesteal stacking with the overcharge can go up almost to 40%. But a scout spent early by Ignite Gaming. They see what Tempest are doing, but will that be able to stop them with Ornstein being the only one really in their way? A lot of map control being given to Tempest right now, but the point is still held by Ignite Gaming.
That's 45%. Even though it's not getting much higher than that, they still have so much more than what Tempest team have picked up at a whopping 0. Big fat goose egg over there for the blue team as of right now. Now it's starting to approach 60%. We've seen a fight back at this point already. Redlaw is going to go ahead and pick up 1 kill. Now Ganchi finally finds that Cassie. This time, though, not able to lock it down just because of the difference of height. She gets knocked down the staircase. Not able to find the kill, but able to corral them away. It looks like Ignite, I mean, all incredibly low. No one dying, though, as they fall back to regroup. Yeah,
they all got so low because of the Corvus death early, picked off by Walther, but the respawns get them in here. This is going to be a very tense final fight, but the first pick goes to Redemption, just random axes. Ends up catching the Cassie in the back, and everyone else on the side of Tempest is pretty healthy. Ignite need to focus someone down, but Xseeds is the next to fall.
Unfortunately, yeah, you lose the support, you lose Penny, you lose Deja Vu. Orin, look, I don't mean to harp on you, KDA, but it's not going to help you there. Tempest team are going to be able to seal the deal in game number 1. A great start to this set, Kresnik, for a team that, as you said, has not historically been doing well against most of these teams in Brazil.
Yeah, they have never really been able to close out a map until now. I feel like I can't remember them winning one other than maybe against Fatal in that bottom of the barrel matchup we got to see between the two teams kind of going up against each other. I do have these stats ready, just hoping that nothing gets bumped around in them here, and I have the stats up now. Walther with 160,000 damage. Gonchi pretty close behind too. I mean, all the damage dealers on both teams were far up in the stats. That's, I think, to be expected from a match that goes 4-3. But Tempest, I think, I'm trying to see what the biggest difference maker was here. Nando absorbing almost 300,000 damage combined between his health pool and his shield. A lot of self-healing on Redemption too, and healing close between them. It was just a really close contest. At the end of the day, I think Tempest team just found the picks when they needed to. The roots coming in from the Grover, I think, really a strong point there for catching people unaware, where you can see kind of lower levels of resilience. Kubi's not an ounce of Brazil, and hey, guess who the first one to go down in that last fight was to the Grover? It was him.
Yeah, and unfortunately, 6, 8, and 9 as well. Not quite great at counting. 7, 8, 9 is really where you want to be if you're at least in that department. But Retlaw 10 to 17 does great for Walther throughout this on the Vivian. So really showcasing, I think, where they went. It's also worth noting, I mean, you roll it back, and Tempest team had that undying round at the beginning. So it shows that Vivian, much like we were saying in picks and bans, just was not getting killed consistently enough. And unfortunately, that does mean that on the other side, again, 3 and 11, have to say it, Rom was the one on the receiving end of a lot of those deaths. Maybe one of the ones that had to have that department of opening up the Vivian for kills. Just didn't consistently happen, and now Brightmarsh ends up going the way of Tempest. I'm excited to see what we end up doing for all of this. And map number 2, it's going to be the one instead that, well, Tempest chose Brightmarsh. Now it will be up to them to try and defend themselves on their opposing map before it goes to loser's pick. So things are still a little shifty. They know where they're going already.
Yes, they do. I have that open right here. Ignite Gaming, after the loss, are going to take us to Bazaar. So we're seeing Bazaar again. In one day. 2 Bazaars in one day. It's just not being banned as much. Maybe we also, I feel like, I could be wrong, I feel like we see it a little bit more in Brazil than we do in North America. I just feel like our EU, I just feel like we tend to see it here a little bit more. The teams prioritize some of the other bans. And also, I expect to see the Stranger maps as we get a little bit further into the season, because teams first week, first rotation, what are they going to do? They're going to ban the maps they don't like. Second time through, they say, all right, these guys are so good at Jag, they're so good at Ice Mines, let's ban Jag and Ice, and let's see what's left, right? When some of the stalwart kind of fallback maps for a lot of teams are banned, you're going to go to these Bazaars, you're going to go to these Warders Gates, and you're going to end up kind of going a little bit deeper into your map pool to try to make these other teams a little bit more uncomfortable. And we can head into picks and bans to see how uncomfortable Tempest team are going to look on Bazaar, a map that I personally like a lot. I'm shocked that people don't like it as much as I do. I feel like it's just better fish market. Honestly, I don't know if I'm wrong about that, but it's fish market with cover. What's not to like, in my opinion?
Fish market with cover. Well, we'll have to see if they play it. It's a little less Wild Westy feeling than fish market. Fish market is quite literally the anything goes, almost, it feels like, for a lot of these. But not the scoreline I thought we'd be coming into map number 2 with. Tempest team up 1-0 here. Ignite tasked with slapping back at least once on Bazaar. And I'll be honest, Kresnik, Brightmarsh, let's say your Stone Keeps, your Jag Falls, etc., your standards are going to be the ones that I think could go either way, much like the last map. Bazaar feels like such a more niche map to pick for Ignite that if you told me as clairvoyance you could see into the future, this was a 4-0, I'd believe you. I just think this is one that, unless Tempest team have been practicing it, things might get out of hand for them pretty quickly.
Yeah, it could. It could be tough for them to turn it around, but this early pick here right now with the Strix, Xin first pick is also interesting, because some people tell me that Xin, people tell me that it's not as good on this map. I do like Buck here, so I expect to see that being picked up. But Strix, a sniper with, as of right now, only really a Xin to put pressure on him. I think interesting start by them, and they're going to get Vivian as well. Again, also a fantastic DPS, as we know. this does, with this double hit scan priority, make me think maybe Walther is a controller player. You don't really tend to see, you don't see this much of a heavy lean into these early hit scans, other than teams like, pick Pepper, Prolific, those teams with those multiple players on that to make sure that they're comfortable and on the best possible characters there. And then when you have the other mouse and keyboard flexes on your team that maybe can play some of the projectiles, some of the more mobile flankers, then you have that flexibility for them because you have the whole roster open to you.
And like you said, Strix. First off, Strix, like blowing my mind as well, being that top pick with Vivian, leans a little more towards those console, at least the Styx players, because they love them. Although the meta right now, maybe you're trying to strip it away from Ignite Gaming, but they get Corvus, Rom, Zin. Yeah. I don't know. I don't feel like you're losing a whole lot. Like, yeah, it sucks to lose Vivian out there, but you're still getting some pretty big picks. Genos going to be locked in on the other side. I've been surprised. He's banned here, but there's been a surprising lack of Victor for a lot of this thing. He was banned last game as well. I haven't seen him as much today as I typically expect to, so we'll have to see as things move forward for them. But Tempest team with Ashe, Genos, Vivian, Strix, I mean, I've seen a lot of teams. You go back to Phase 1, give that to Sanguine in North America, they're going to slaughter everybody with this lineup.
Hey, so Gore, I have the last pick typed in right now.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you right now, it's a champion you would not expect as the last pick on Bazaar. Who do you think it is? I'll tell you it's a DPS.
It's a DPS.
It's a DPS. Go.
Flank or damage?
It's a damage dealer.
So it's a damage.
But you wouldn't expect.
I wouldn't expect it. Hold on, Brain. Bring up the champions. The only one I can see, the minute you asked me, my brain was like, hey, say Bomb King. And I was like, that's not going to be Bomb King. It's like, no, say Bomb King. It wants me to say Bomb King.
I'll give you
I don't think it's Bomb King.
One guess.
It's, hold on, let's go ahead.
Chat, stop helping.
No, I'm not looking at chat.
No, but chat is making guesses. I don't want them to help you.
I'm looking up the champions and paladins because my mind is pulling a blank. So we click on damage. Who do I not expect? I'm gonna say Imani.
And it's Imani, just to let you know.
Yes!
Imani.
Oh my God! Yes!
Are you good?
That's awesome! That was such a shot in the dark. Yeah!
You're not getting anything from this. I just want you to know. I just wanted you to.
Dad, I just want a car. That's how this works, right?
The one with the Clemson sticker on the back that's already parked outside your apartment, conveniently enough. You might be familiar.
Damn, and it needs a car wash, Kresnik. Look, quarantine has not been kind to a lot of us, but it has been especially not kind to my car. I have not gotten that thing washed in like a year now.
Yeah, it was hopefully. It's maybe there's no contact in car washes most of the time, right? You could probably still go through those.
Yeah, but then I have to leave.
True. I've been avoiding leaving as much as possible as well. But Imani, the pickup for them.
Yeah, right.
I guess they really can't get onto the Imani when the dragon gets used. But this map is also so wide. What does the dragon do? It's huge.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think about this. Buck may be able to get back there consistently. He can jump over the walls, so I don't know if there's an easy, safe place. But at the same time, who cares? Like, Imani's dragon. Let's roll back, right? You're at the very beginning of, 2019, Imani's release. That dragon is the most oppressive thing in Paladins.
Oh, yeah.
It is insane how strong it is. Roll up to September 18th, 2020. And that dragon, it means nothing to Vivian, of all people, right? Like, just the Vivian it cares nothing about this dragon. It got nerfed so much at the very beginning of its iteration that it hasn't really gotten to showcase, I think, a lot of the strengths. And I don't know, Kresnik, like, maybe there's something to be said, but the rest of Imani's kit doesn't really have me leaning in favor of it. I'd love for Ignite Gaming to give me a masterclass enter, but I don't know. I'm not sold.
Yeah, well, we can go in and see. I was going to say, when you started saying the date, I didn't realize it was specifically September 18th, so I thought you had, since you were on the Paladins wiki anyway, I thought you had the patch notes in front of you, and you were about to say the exact day she got nerfed to make her less played, but...
Damn, I should have done that. Chat, I failed you. Kresnik, I failed you, and I apologize.
Pyromania too, if that gets stuck. I'm sorry, I need to... I'm kind of ignoring it.
You're the one keeping me on rails, dude.
Pyromania, kind of wild to see. I'll even look at this. Kubi's the one playing it as well. Arcane Flame is a terrible card. I'll just be honest with you guys right now. Mana Cannon, Mana Generation and Inferno Cannon, not the best, but it's what Kubi's wants to stay in that lane. So, for those of you who don't know what Pyromania does, which most of you might not, every third shot will explode in an AoE, but you have to hit 2 shots first We'll see what Kubi's can do. Already knocked low by that Strix, kind of in waiting as I realized that the team names had not been swapped, so hopefully we can do that in the next break sometime soon. Deja Vu gets the first trade onto Walther, though, and this ROM engaging real early here.
It's so far going well on the side of Ignite. Ornn having a kill picked up here for this ROM, and you already got the longest warm-up game as you would have possibly needed. And for those of you who have watched competitive in the past and were looking at this Imani and thought that something looked different, this is called Fire Stance. Now, you don't see it a whole lot, but it's a lot like Ice, but the charge-up shot's very similar to Shaolin Bow, and she's orange. It's really going to be interesting, again, to see, like you said, to see how it comes through. 1,000 damage shots, very hard hitting that it comes through. But I'm excited to continue watching it. But again, I'm memeing it a little bit, but really, I can't think of the last time. Like, I'm maybe running back to Bittner playing at one game where he's stance switching a ton, where we got to see some fire shots and specifically the cannon that can come through and shred some tanks. But you don't get to see anyone sit in that stance often. So I'm excited to watch the remainder of this, because as of right now, it's working out, Kresnik. I mean, I have to give him that credit.
Yeah, one of the biggest things I think about the fire stance is that, A, the hitboxes are huge, and you also get the use of this Inferno Cannon, which, even though it doesn't apply cauterize, it can do a lot of damage. But the hitboxes are massive, and there's no jumping inaccuracy, which is another big thing. You can use that to jump over the walls on Bazaar and get a lot of poke. And I should go to some other people, even though this Imani is going to be very exciting to watch. I know we need to kind of give a little bit of love to the rest of the team, but Ignite, off the back of that Imani, they won that first mid. I think also being able to pressure that Strix out. Now Tempest team trying to hold a little bit of grind on the wall here. Might use the assert dominance for CC, and they get that early stun.
Exactly, as you call it. Lockdown gonna happen there. Zeeds, Deja Vu, Ornn. Feels like we're watching Brightmarsh again with the kills that are coming up in the order that they're happening. Now it's gonna be a relapse coming down from Ignite. Unfortunate death for Penny there. Just tailed off, staggered out. So gonna take a little bit to respawn and re-engage with the rest of the team. Dragon available for Imani. Almost all of the ult available here on Ignite. A couple used there for Tempest just to find that defense. And the Dragon's going to come out. This is the question you had. It's a big boy. Where can it fit?
Oh, it's
the answer is up into the sky, and I like this movement, Kresnik.
Oh, but Ganchi flanked. Look at that. Ganchi ran into the back and killed him. And here's what I'm talking about. Holding the damage reduction, but just can't slip through the cracks of the wall. Ganchi just ran into the back lane on Strix. Crazy how the long-range damage dealer in the game somehow is also one of the best flankers. 1200 burst right to the dome, and unlucky. I feel like that Dragon could have done a ton if Ganchi didn't slip past them.
I was very confused for a second there. I didn't look at the kill feed. I was like, how did Vivian shred that fast? I was genuinely concerned for the Dragon. But yeah, like you said, a good flank. Interesting to have it come through from all people as the Strix, like you said, being the one who gets back there. But hey, stealth is a hell of a drug when it comes down to it, and it helped him get back there enough. And as you could see, I mean, even following it up, a double kill that he picked up, a big impact from a Strix that, again, I was kind of questioning it as a first pick. It's not something you typically see at the very top of your Bazaar drafts. We had mentioned it in the last set, but he's picked up here often enough that you can expect Strix guaranteed, but not first pick, not every time. If it has a performance like this, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, I mean, the Strix is looking fantastic so far, I think, especially with the triple flank. How can you say that that's not working out for them? We're gonna get you right back into the game, guys. I think because I paused to fix the names earlier, Spectator decided no, so we are currently relaunching the game to get back in. Spectator fights me a lot.
It fights a lot of people, trust me. If Spectator was a human being, I imagine it would be Andre the Giant and could probably one-punch everybody.
Sometimes when you lose capture of a game and then regain capture of a game in OBS, aka Open Broadcaster Software, as you guys know, it just crashes OBS. So I lost the game capture and then got it back, and as I was relaunching the game, I saw me freeze on the side. Unlucky. I'm currently getting us back to the point we were at in the game before my OBS decided to die on me, as it happens. But this Imani, I'm happy to see it working. I think, though, the Buck on the other side is also doing a decent job of kind of slowing down the pace of the game as he would be doing. I think he's trading into them okay, but I think they're just getting overwhelmed by damage. And this Xin, the Guillotine specifically, is just destroying them.
And again, I was saying it when we had crashed. I don't know how much of it got through, but I'm still kind of floored. Like, the Strix first pick has been doing a ton in terms of prowess. And again, it's done enough so far that I will say it has earned its first pick spot. So I give him a lot of credit, but I don't want to count this Imani out just yet. It's pretty easy to get caught out during your ult if you're not in the most secure location with someone even watching over you. So maybe play it back a little bit and we'll watch how the rest of the game goes. Speaking of which, Kresnik, whenever you get the opportunity, I'd love my feed as well to be able to see what's going on screen. But no rush on that one as we move forward into the game, just because I want to see this Imani. I want to see more of it. And I want to know if running this one card you don't like is going to be what can maybe win a game.
I don't think it'll be the end of days, but currently I'm just trying to get us back to the point we were at in the game, as I had to kind of zoom back through. Hopefully we will catch up shortly to that. I'm trying to listen out and see if we can catch up to that position. Looks like it might be close to that initial push, I think. Dragon being used. Well, we'll come right back to actually where I think the Dragon was spent initially. We're going to watch Gonchi's POV on this as we head into game now. You should be able to see, I believe. I know what you were saying before. I'll get that ready for you right now, Gordon. Right now, Gonchi flanking on the side, coming in behind. Actually, flashbang point blank 2, it looks like, which you can't see, but an interesting decision to be made as I get the multiple things I have to get ready for you to see on game. It's going to look a little weird for a second for Miser, but Gonchi ends up losing that trade as I manage the spectator as well. But Tempest team will kind of resettle here, see how things move around for them, and they'll get back to their standard defensive position. This will look very low-key for you, Gore, for a second, but I'll improve your resolution in a second.
No worries. The biggest thing I think from what I'm seeing right now is Ignite. It feels like they've had consistent control, Kresnik, throughout most of this. But Tempest, again, and I said this in Europe, so maybe I'm just going to bear repeating myself, but it feels like almost every time that something good starts up for either of these squads, the other one has almost the perfect counter ready for it. But we'll have to see a lot of the pressure that I had highlighted in picks and bans maybe mounting here for Tempest team. How much Bazaar have you practiced? You've lost your main DPS, you've taken a lot of damage, and 2 members forced back into the fountain to heal up. One looking like they're about to fall down in this buck, and that's going to be another kill there for the Imani, of all people, to start things up for them. Playing a big distraction factor as of right now. That magma cannon does so much, but it's not enough to turn that one around. Overtime still going forward. Kills coming up for the red squad. There's still 1 tank standing on that payload. 1 Strix not looking at him until just then. That damage might be all she wrote for this. We're feeling like a 1-1 with overtime going down. That's exactly what we'll see.
You know, Gore, I'm going to say, I think... I didn't mean to call you Fawn. I looked at Fawn on the side as I said that. I think they probably have practiced Bazaar, right? We see it more often than not in this region. I don't think they've practiced Bazaar against Imani Zin. How often does that come up?
Yeah, you've got a good point there.
It's not a draft you normally expect to see. I still think they're playing pretty well for it, though. Their hit scans, I think, are performing on the other side decently, at least. I want to take a look at this Vivian build. See, we still have max speed. I think that's a card you pretty much need in all your builds, but a little bit more aiming towards sustain. With the numbed heart, more HP, more scapegoat, 20% of that DR every time the shield's up. But the shield can go down pretty quickly with that. And no Wrecker on the other side. But Claw3 already up for Kubi's, already up for Deja Vu as well. And we'll see where this Guillotine ends up landing to get Ignite an early advantage.
That's going to be the immediate slash down onto Insane. You called it, and they gave it to you. Final delivery going to come down, and that's just immediately a 4v5, but Kubi's goes down, so does Orin. It's 2 for 2, and now they even up the playing field as a 3v3 starts out. Shots from Strix. Gonchi right on note, finds 1, looks for 2. Corvus is barely going to be able to escape, but it doesn't matter. He's still finding the headshots ringing true. This Strix is proving its first pick every single shot that gets fired there. Retlaw, maybe credit for the kills, but we saw where that damage was coming from, and Tempest team are really slapping back hard.
Where is this Dragon actually being used? Look, inside their own side, but look, the Strix already doing a ton of damage to it early. I don't think he'll even get a point out of this. Maybe trades Shapiro. How did they not kill that Dragon with where he was? But they'll trade it out with Xseeds, and Kubi's just desperately trying to get to the point.
That's going to be the Inferno Cannon. Helps shred the shield, doesn't help shred the health bar there. It's 93 to 54. Tempest are looking to try and hold on, get their way back in. Deja Vu goes down, and that's going to be a good start to the fight, but it's whether or not they can keep the control in their favor that's going to matter. Imani is going to be able to find some damage. Hasn't necessarily been the big player that we've wanted to see so far. Buck being able to get forward, gets rid of Penny. Now this Imani starting to come online. That Inferno Cannon does just enough damage to both the Jenos and the Buck to then not find any kills over all of it, but it doesn't matter because they're finding the kills elsewhere. Zone those two out, get rid of the tanks, get rid of the Vivian. Now they're back in control, that 99% looking to get matched as 96, 99, ticks over to a capture here for Ignite. Gonna be able to hold on to this one. Now they'll have to see if they can turn around the way the push went last time into a conversion this time.
I mean, they have an ultimate to start a snowball early here. They can just get rid of this tank, delete Insane, Guillotine. Even against solo tank gets value, right? Get rid of the one, and then how do they contest? They have to throw in bodies that they really probably don't want to be throwing onto the objective. But everyone on Tempest surging forward after their initial pick. That's the smart way to do it, to protect Insane, and they lose out their healer on the other side. But Insane traded. Deja Vu doing a great job on this Zin.
I mean, being able to find those kills and again using a spite just to make sure that he locks down Insane, it's been consistent. And this is actually one of those weird instances. Typically, you think Guillotine when you're looking at a team with multiple tanks, but so far, Insane just hasn't been allowed to play for a lot of these big, crucial team fights because of this one Zen. It's opened up a lot of opportunity for him. We'll have to see if they can continue it. Right now, Shapiro who's looking for that opening. Insane finds a kill onto Z's, but you lose 2 in the process. Support for 2, it feels worthwhile, but with that payload marching closer, it's a difficult trade to really make and argue for.
All right, now look at that. Deja Vu went real deep to catch out Insane without the Guillotine this time. Even this Zin just has this Ash's number, and when your solo tank is dead, you really can't stop the cart. Honestly, best one to contest on their team is, I guess, Strix through stealth. I mean, Insane's backup now has the assert dominance, but could just get knocked out of it once he lands. But Penny kinda low, and a dragon will help this get converted.
Oh, it's gonna come through this time. Watch to see if she gets melted. Right now, she's the one doing the melting. This dragon just eats Insane for breakfast. Bretlaw finally going to be able to find something there. I guess at this time of day, it's an early dinner that comes through. Either way, they still get the conversion thanks to that dragon. Maybe too much focus on that Imani. 9, 6, and 7, so maybe not insanely stellar, the best, but still positive, which is doing great. It's more than you can say, unfortunately, for Zeeds, who's 1 and 8 right now.
Redemption, though, even on this 3-1 end, has managed to keep himself alive for the majority of this so far, so good play, I think, by him even while getting pressure. And Zeeds really just, it's so hard. He has to peek to heal most of the time, and I think that's really hurting him into this Strix, into this Vivian. He can't really get away with it. If the Buck decides to get on him, that net slow comes in. He can't do much else after that. So now look at Kubi's loadout as we roll out here. But even with 8 deaths, he's still out healing Redemption. That should go to show how little damage Tempest are taking. That matters, right? I think they're going from 100 to 0 right away on the side of Tempest. And an early assert dominance probably does a stun nano for a little bit, and there's no real follow-up.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be what you want that ult for. We'll have to watch Insane throughout the rest of this. I see a spite that's available, but it's going to be used instead on Shapiro. Gets rid of the Buck at the same time. Strix goes down. So that's making it a little bit easier to move forward. Now 1 hit away, 1 kill away will be that Ash. No assert dominance to save that one. They're getting aggressive. That's a double kill for Deja Vu, and he's right outside their base on the point fight, Kresnik on Bazaar. That's not something that happens often. Able to finally pull back 1. That 78% is looking to turn into 100 incredibly fast. Retlaw is going to be able to touch down, but I don't know that's going to be enough. Ash will find her way back in here. It's going to take a lot, and it will cost her her life. No one from Tempest team left available. This overtime is going to go down, and we find Ignite tying up the set.
Yeah, Ignite, with an interesting draft with a unique backline, but it's one that seems to work on Bazaar. When the map came out, it didn't end up kind of going this way, but we were kind of theorizing that these vertical characters might have a bit of an advantage, right? The characters who can go over the gate, who can abuse that. Imani is Cassie and Shaolin who can also do that. It makes a lot of sense, right? She has the backline, which ended up being strong on this map, and then she also has that verticality to do those silly flank plays, even if one big downside, her team maybe needs to protect her a little bit more when she uses those dragons. I mean, Walther walked in once for free, got the kill. Gonshi snuck past everybody and quickscoped her twice. No one really protecting Kubi's when that dragon was being used, but if they can get that down, they might be able to get even more value out of that Imani, which got them a 4-1.
Well, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't see a lot of Imani, so I'm going to go ahead and say I think she has a 100% win rate now in Brazil. That comes through. Good for her, which is something you wouldn't expect to see. Needs nerfs, obviously. That comes through.
Clearly.
She comes in, wins the only game she's ever played. And does a lot of damage doing so. Top damage on the team there, and top damage in the game. Oh, no, not quite. Ganshi, I'm sorry, did a little bit more. About 7k separating the two there. And it's to be expected. That Strix very early on was a huge thorn in the side for Ignite. And even in the late game, ended up being a huge thorn in the side. Just wasn't quite the same impact as time went on. QB's was definitely the one that was starting to pick things up. Along with Deja Vu, it became very difficult to deal with Ignite's DPS.
Yeah, but it also, on the other side of Tempest, they were also shooting into this ROM who gave them 117,000 damage to be added to their damage stats. With all the tanking that he was able to do, kind of helped Ganshi get pushed a little bit forward here. We'll hop to the KDAs and see itemization and things like that. 9 and 10, 9 and 12, Ganshi and Shupiru. Tough for them on Tempest, getting under a lot of pressure for most of that game. The Deja Vu, though, I mean, he was going nuts, I think, that game. The Xin, 17 and 6, so many kills with the guillotine and just general polka and dive potential. No one could really stop him once he got in. If he could get past the line of sight that Ganshi had, he just tore through him.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Tempest, that only was able to do so much for them. He tore through, but wasn't quite enough on his own to be able to lock it down. So now it's 1-1 as we move forward. Not necessarily the best place. If you're the underdog, you don't want to see the comeback start in map number 2. So we'll have to see if they can continue that. And we do go to loser's pick now for maps, Kresnik. So that maybe does shift things over in Tempest team's favor. But again, this is the one that I feel bad bringing up. They have yet to find themselves a set win so far here in phase 2.
Let them breathe, Gore. Let them let them figure out what they want to do. And I have to prep the picks and bans for you guys, being as all of OBS had to restart earlier, so I have to kind of make sure that's ready. But I can tell you right now, before I finalize it, it is going to be Stone Keep that Tempest want to go to after that game on Bazaar. So go to a weird map, take an L there, and then say, all right, well, let's go a little bit maybe more standard here. I almost just entered the name of Ignite Gaming as Stone Keep, so that would have been one that I was not happy to see.
Stone Keep versus Tempest team. The map itself is trying to beat them, and honestly, we might end up seeing something like that, depending on the draft.
Yeah, I was
gonna say. Kind of play against you. We'll have to see. Buck was actually pretty big here and picked up here just a few minutes ago in Europe. So if both of these teams have already showcased that they are willing to pick him up, might be something that we look at happening here. Victor's, your Vivians obviously coming through, your Corvuses, your Genos. You're looking at your Andros, your Taluses, your what works in Brazil, it's going to work here. So we'll have to see how the bans roll out to see what's left for all of that. Andro taken away, Victor taken away, along with the Zen. Not surprising after a stellar performance last time around. And one more Talus, of all things. So Vivian's still available. Maybe Tempest team's first pick, but Genos as well as Corvus, you want one of them. We'll have to see which one they grab.
And it's the same bans that Ignite did last time, so they must think they've kind of hit a mark, hit a nerve for Tempest team, that not letting them have those two characters, which can be, I think, quite effective. But Vivian picked up for them early. Tempest won. They're 50-50 with it right now. 1 win, 1 loss, and we'll see where it'll push them this time. But still great picks up, I think, for Ignite Gaming. Genos gets taken by them. It could even be the Corvus if they really want to play that pocket style of play, but some verticality would be really nice to have on Stone Keep. They'll go for that Buck instead. Again, super high priority compared to where he is in the other regions over here in Brazil. A strong pick, though, that duels a lot of different characters. I don't think he does great into Vivian, so Ignite's got to hope that they pick someone that Buck can really trade out into.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Vivian already alone, and we highlighted this earlier today, but she's so easy to just survive. It's difficult to get back there and consistently kill her. It's part of what went wrong for them on Brightmarsh. So we'll have to see if they can do that again here, or I guess actually they want to change it up if you're Ignite Gaming. You want to consistently get back to that Vivian and kill her off. Rom maybe going to be helpful at that. Strix Corvus, though, on the other side to help play either Guardian, Healer, whatever you want to ask for them on the Vivian. I still feel like you need a little bit more, and they go back to the Imani, Kresnik.
It's verticality. Again, you have a backline who can go up top. It's so hard to get Inferno Cannon to work, though, into Vivian Strix. I'm shocked that they got any kills with it, honestly, because most of the time when you hold an Inferno Cannon in front of a Vivian, you just die. If she has any sustain, she's cauterizing you. You're not cauterizing her. She should win that trade, but Imani, it worked for Ignite last map. This is arguably a better map for it. I think Frostbomb and Keep can be really impactful, and you can do kind of some silly flank plays with that Frostfire Glide combined with the Inferno Cannon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue with her damage, and again, like you said, she had 100% win rate here in Brazil, so I can't argue against the numbers, right? Well, we'll have to see if she can keep it up. Khan on the other side as well, not someone we see too often, but between Inara and Khan, Dragon definitely has some targets that he's going to eat up. Imani worked pretty well against the Vivian. Hey, you wanted someone else that could maybe dive in on her, but a little bit better than the Buck. I think Eevee is maybe the correct answer to that one. As well as the Strix, it's going to keep them preoccupied. Tempest team going to have a lot of work cut out for them to try and control what Ignite have drafted.
Yeah, it'll be, I think, a hard one. The Khan specifically, I don't think is going to be a great matchup into what they have. I guess he grabs Buck, and that's kind of it. I mean, he doesn't really do too much otherwise. And Inferno Cannon is fantastic into him, too. For the Inferno Cannon right above the shield, he has to shout or get healed or he's dead. He will get, I think, taken more or less from 100 to 0 by that if that doesn't happen. But I think this Eevee is going to be a matchup between Walther and whoever ends up playing the Eevee. Could be a tough one for that if Walther ends up busting out one of those, I think, those loadouts, that has a little bit more scapegoat to deal with it more. But actually, Walther moves to that Khan instead, showing that he really is kind of filling the shoes of Darius playing the off tank. So Vivian will go to Shapiru for them as I pull us into the game so you guys can see exactly what I'm seeing here on the side of both of these teams. 1-1 now. No point tank for Ignite Gaming, as was mentioned in the chat a moment ago, but you don't really need it when you have a draft that can get as aggressive as that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You're coming forward, and the main thing I see is the conversation of, well, with the ability to withstand damage and the ability to just all-out assault the enemy team. I think we're going to end up seeing Ignite here just constantly be an onslaught against Tempest team. Like you said, it's just so much damage that's on the roster. And Rom can be tanky, but he's not the end-all be-all, at least in my mind, when I think of point tanks. So a lot of work cut out for him. Similarly, though, cut out for that Inara. Yeah, you've got a Corvus behind you, you've got a good healer, and you're Inara, but at the same time, you are going to get shredded. There's not a lot of days you walked into this amount of damage, and already things are clashing up. And keep the damage looking good. Shield shredded already. There's that magma cannon damage already. Getting Retlaw down to have it, and then just pops off 2 kills at once. Coming out forward. Looks like 3 might be coming in pretty soon as Shapiro goes down. 4, and you know what? Why not knock down the last domino? 5 there is a full-on team wipe. Starts out 51% picked up for Tempest, but they lose the fight.
Pyromania actually value there. Couldn't see Ganji on the Strix, but just shot the floor and killed him because he was already so low, using that AoE really to its fullest. But Tempest will have a chance to retake here. They don't realize he's up top. Strix just being able to go invisible past them. Once again tries to pressure, gets very, very low, but luckily Wormhole keeps him safe. But they lose Kubi's, their only real backline, and now they have to burn this Inara that snuck past them to the point.
She's standing there and getting that percentage up, not just snuck past them. It seems like they're almost ignoring her at this point. 78 to 78, and they're going to be able to march on past that for Tempest team. They look to close this out. Ganji gets into a good position. Nice shot onto the Buck to start things off. Already halfway dead, and now fully dead for Penny as they get erased off the board. To QBs and the rest of the crew to try and open something up. Good fadeaway shot from the Strix once again, just to make sure everybody on Ignite is kept on their toes. And this is the downside of one tank and a triple DPS. You lose them, it feels like you lose control. Tempest come back into Stone Keep, ready to fight, and they take point number 1.
A quick strike back, even after losing the first fight, but just getting their Strix up top unseen. I guess realistically there was no way for them to see him being invisible, but for those Luminates online, he sneaks by and makes that work for now. I wonder if they're looking for an early overpower here, maybe to take someone out, but look at this early damage. Deja Vu messes up his jump too, so he gets really caught out. The health is rough for Ignite Gaming.
I mean, this is, almost the opposite of what I expected to start happening. It feels like the onslaught of damage is going one way and one way only. Retlaw, though, locked down. I don't know if you needed all those, but it doesn't matter. Zeeds hits Shapiro with that second shot coming through. 2 ults expended, 2 kills found. That's going to at least give them that final moment of breath, Kresnik, right? I mean, it felt like it was a constant downfall since that re-engage from Tempest team. So now it's just holding on to the ground you've grabbed and stopping that payload from moving any closer. Here's the Sentinels that come through. It's a lot of damage online for Shapiro.
Yo, I want to see. Oh wait, is the dragon walled in? Oh no, but I guess it has enough damage with an infinite clip where you can just blow down that wall. No one looks like behind, so we might actually see some value out of this dragon now. In the middle of that Vivian though, but Shapiro can't really trade in. There's too much damage, and I think he's just gonna catch Redemption too.
Being able to find that already better dragons than what we got to see in map 1, and mainly just because this Imani has been able to stay alive through them, which is great. But now Penny, I mean, look how aggressive they're getting. Dismounts that are going to be able to come through, although they didn't tag the Inara to the right. She should be able to get back there. Maybe not no problem, but at least within time. So they still have a minute left. Khan going for the overpower. Doesn't connect, though. So they're not going to be able to get the kills that they needed. Now, they're locked between a rock and a hard place. Turns out the rock is the ROM. The hard place is instead here, this buck. It doesn't seem to be enough for them. A couple of kills coming up on the side of Tempest team. They're at least going to make it back to this one in time to not worry too much in overtime.
I think this Strix has to be the first target, right? Because every time they've ignored the Strix, he just wins. That's just what snipers do. When you can't pressure them, they can just win a game kind of single-handedly. So it has to be Gonchi that gets pressured early. This Imani can do it with some of these traded projectiles, but not always. Gonchi, again, just 1800 right to the Domakubis, and he just can't peek. He's stuck behind those boxes, and Day Shuffle will alleviate some of that pressure.
Good shot already onto Insane. Retlaw. Khan is good as a tank. Maybe not the best at withstanding this onslaught, and it looks like it's going to be threatened, but not too much so. Still alive. They fight forward. That shield's going to pay its weight in gold. Overtime ticks down. Ignite. This one tied up in their favor. 4 ults online. The Dragon specifically as the one that maybe can be game-changing. This definitely feels like a good round for them going into it.
And the Dragon's going to be so much more lethal in this game, again, unless they can't stop Gonchi from flanking, because who on Tempest team gets behind? Who on Tempest team kills Scoobies? They have 2 backlines, they have a Khan. No one's really able to kind of bear the burden of sneaking past them and actually applying pressure to this Imani that's using this Dragon. They have to just hope they can burn it down, and they don't have any Bulldozer on their side quite yet, not thinking they need it. We'll say, though, healing in general, very in favor of this Corvus on the side of Tempest team. I think great look for them to have that massive level of sustain. I think it's helping significantly, but that's just probably also being boosted a little bit by that damage that they're taking from the extra boost from the Luminary.
Already kicking this one off. Rom goes forward. Rom looks for ult. Only finds 1 this time, even though 3 were lined up. Doesn't get the kill on it either. Nara very low. Vivian back to full health, but Insane loses their life. That Dragon looking to run through and burn down anyone in its path. Cubies gets 1. Cubies looking for 2 and 3, but they're all running away and trying to hide. This Dragon can go just about anywhere. Those doors, they're just wide enough to be able to fit through. It's going to be able to pick up a second one at the tail end of the ult. Still, not a lot of ult percentage picked up here on the other side. And Overpower connects onto the ROM, so that's at least 1 free kill for Tempest team as they find themselves leading just by 3%, 45 to 42 on the point.
Look, Deja Vu, though, is in the back. Even though they trade another kill for it, Tempest team will cap. But they're surrounded, and they're so distracted by Gonchi that Seeds gets the kill time in space.
I mean, just a beautiful shot through the backline. Finds that one, but Insane is back on the point. No tanks immediately available for Ignite, but they still force Insane away. That's the damage I think that Cubies is doing, as well as maybe the presence of this ROM. Keep your eyes on those ults. 61% already back for this Imani. Might not come into play during this mid-fight. It depends on how long we continue watching. No one stand there. Finally, moving forward is going to be Tempest team. Are they going to take too much damage in the process? 1,000 damage shots still ringing true towards the backline, but not finding any kills. And Nara back on the objective and maintaining the truth. Penny goes down. This Dragon looking to come through once again, but Nara balls herself off, makes a little pocket that she is going to be safe in. Could be an oven if this flame was turned that direction, but instead, they're just going to be perfectly fine. Not going to find any kills. The Dragon goes down, but it's not going to save them here. That Inferno Cannon does so much. They're going to fight their way back into it. No tanks available to readily turn this favor back and forward towards Tempest team.
They do have Gonchi still alive, though, and I really can't count any team out from a fight when they have a sniper up, but Walter does fall, trying to get the touch, even if Gonchi might even get it. No, the stealth just out of resources without a limb, so he won't be able to make it, and Ignite Gaming off the back of 2. I believe the full name of it is Draconic Call, but I never really get to call it that. Back-to-back. This Imani just helps them seal the deal when they have to disengage from these Dragons coming.
It's so difficult I mean, you have Vivian. Again, I think Vivian's strikes are going to be good at killing the dragon, but because of how short this map is, and specifically in all these fights, you don't have a lot of time to get that damage into the dragon where it can't damage you. So it is at least finding some good turnarounds, as well as the fact that Zeed's, I think he's 2 for 2. The last 2 ults I've seen out of him have gotten a kill as its support, so very solid pickups in that front. It is all about turning this into something. You lose point number 1, you capture point number 2. Now it's all about finding kills. Good ult from Penny there. Not enough follow-up to find that kill just yet. If we keep seeing that, Kresnik, that honestly might be the most eye-opening change that Ignite Gaming could make.
Yeah, for sure. If they can keep up this pressure from this ROM, I think, for the Inferno Cannon right now being blocked by Kubi's up here. Another Dragon Wait, is that Zeed's gonna get 2? He just can't miss with these time and spaces, Gore.
Right, somebody, go ahead, inspect the computer. It's all him, all in the mouse, all in the flick of the wrist for this Genos and what he's finding. The Dragon opens up a lot of space as well. I don't know if that was a successful hiding job from the Inara, now taking a lot of damage. A minute left as this payload approaches the archway. They already used 2 ults, 3 ults, 4, honestly, if you want to look at the extended fight. Buck started things off. As such, they only have Eevee available, and well, hey, that's going to go ahead and get dropped right there. That payload's still inching its way forward, though. Insane. 2 occupied on the side trying to kill Imani. Ends up letting this payload into the courtyard. Now it's all about defense. They've got 40 seconds left to do it.
I'll see what they can use to break through. No ultimates available for them. I think, if anything, they're okay with taking this L on not capping. I think you just try to do damage. You try to charge up your next ult. They're also revealed up top thanks to that booby trap left in the corner by Shakiru. Have to be careful with this Khan. This Khan is actually kind of tearing into them. A lot of damage, and he's very low. He fought 2 flankers and lived to tell the tale for now, but they don't know he's here. They finally turn around for it, but the Buck Wild, they get 2 kills to start.
That's already going to look good, and low health bars left. The Bug gets taken down. Deja Vu not able to seal the deal there, but it doesn't matter. His team will pick up the slack and find what's left, at least on Insane. Retlaw still low, didn't get any healing throughout all of that thanks to the support being gone, so that's going to be Penny getting a kill. And unfortunately for Ganji, forced to jump down. Everybody that's squishy, forced to try and go down here and compete. Insane's going to get back, but it might be too late for the team. This tank presence is going to be the only one left as Corvus just tries to get away. Killed in the ult as he drops it down on the point. It's going to be able to slow things down a little bit, but it hasn't put a stopper onto anything. This Khan not having enough healing. The damage ringing too true for Ignite Gaming. It's still moving forward, but the kills, I mean, they've overstayed their welcome at this point, and because of respawn proximity, even though Tempest team get eviscerated after the fact, they still find themselves a defense, and they still keep this game tied up.
Yeah, I mean, what a defense. At the very end, only the flankers were remaining with only 1 tank. As soon as he goes down again, it's tough to decide who goes to the cart. Deja Vu finds 2 kills, but they don't have someone in place to replace once that happens. So tough for them to kind of go down there, but I don't believe they spent much of anything. They didn't. I think only maybe the Buck Wild, which is already at 50% now. But Dragon, Time and Space, Cataclysm, all going to be available for Ignite Gaming as we get further Zeeds. This Time and Space, I mean, I'm just going to say it now. It'll probably hit. Why not? I'm never that confident, but he's playing kind of nuts right now, especially with potential combos on the other side with Ornstein hitting them with the Ice Storm to slow them down. They could even time it with Cataclysm. A lot of options, but now they already lost 1 with an early overpower connecting.
What? I mean, that's going to be 2. Almost immediately erased from what we've seen. That's a great 2 kills to start this off with. Get rid of 1 tank, get rid of 1 Eevee. Well, tank, a Buck that comes through, and 1 Eevee. So you're already starting to feel a little more confident in it, but they only get 27% as of right now. Zeed still has this ult, so that's at least 1 kill that's probably waiting to happen on the side of Ignite. There's the Dragon once again, comes burning through. That ult doesn't ring true for Zeed, it's just a little bit wide, and he does go down. But unfortunately for Insane, you have to withstand an onslaught from this Dragon. Health bar getting shredded on both sides, but ultimately the Dragon, the one that ends up feeling a little bit worse for wear. Not going to get a lot done this time. They lose Deja Vu. This is looking great for Tempest.
Yeah, that Buck went in with the Dragon, but the Dragon wasn't really willing to commit. The seismic crash will slow down Penny, but not necessarily stop him completely. And Ganchi just waiting for this Eevee. They live right now. Walter might get this cleanup kill. They need to contest soon.
And they're going to be able to get in at least for an overtime touch, but can they find anything? Buck Wild gets 1. Buck Wild looking for 2. Corvus forced to use its getaway, and they're going to be able to find this touch. Keep things going in their favor. It's 99-3. There's so much work that still needs to be done. Trying to shred it, can't find the Strix through the invisibility. They're gonna look for a good grab onto the Inara, but not able to find the kill. Overtime taken down low. They're gonna be able to get the touch one more time, Kresnik. It keeps going back to it, but it looks like Tempest are gonna be able to capture this one. They're putting Ignite up against the wall. If they can convert this, they win the game.
This Strix is just so hard for them to deal with. He just goes invisible, and what else can they really do? The Illuminate only works when you're close enough to see through it. Kubi's just trying to not peek anything right now. Maybe get some healing in time, but won't get it. And the Inferno Cannon helps him gain space. Look at this collapse up top. I love surrounding is how you play triple DPS. They're not getting the kills fast enough because of that con sustain.
It's all about trying to lock them down, find the shot, and I guess just see what they can do. It's going to be a couple of kills going their way, but this payload hasn't slowed down at all, Kresnik. I mean, you pick up one, you expect to maybe see a little bit of a domino effect, but it hasn't been able to work so far. Khan still putting up a lot of pressure up here, and even though Walther is incredibly low, it doesn't seem to be causing too much trouble for Tempest team. Finally, you get a little bit of breathing room if you're Ignite Gaming, because this payload's no longer moving close. But minute and a half, it's got 1/3 of the way to go. You're feeling pretty good if you're Tempest.
Yeah, I want to see what resources they want to spend, but an early flashbang, they're at least willing to do that, plus the Sentinels that were spent. Look at this early poke. They're kind of tagged, and the Dragon will come in to clean up, but our early damage there goes immediately. That's why Dragon really kind of struggles against these higher tier teams. Immediately deleted, though, is Walther to follow up, and Deja Vu's making room, making them turn around, and Ortsky's cleaning up on all of it.
I mean, just being able to walk in, get this man off ROM on Eevee every day. That's 3 kills picked up through the defense and a 3-kill streak. Now that it's been picked up, they get aggressive. And if you were watching this and you just tuned in, you'd assume that this was an offense. They found their way back to the payload and are moving it forward. This is defense for Ignite Gaming. They are just locking Tempest away in the base, finding kills for funsies at this point more than anything. As long as they can hold them here, they'll be able to die, respawn, and still hold a defense over near that payload as it regresses back to the 50% mark. They've got 30 seconds left if you're Tempest to try and get back to it.
Yeah, the classic ROM Eevee flex for Ornstein. You know, all the ROM players I know also play Eevee. As you know, they're basically the same character, you know,
yeah,
very
absolutely.
squishy,
Same
very
play
squishy,
style.
very mobile. Exactly. So it's a very
Both
normal
blasters.
flex for Ornstein, but no, in all reality, Ornstein being able to do that is impressive. You don't usually see the off-tank flexes having this in the pool, but Kubi's a little bit too forward. Let's see if this Inara can touch in time. Slowed actually by the Buck. Will Insane fall, goes around the corner too late. Gotta be thankful they didn't spend anything else, honestly, for that. But we go into a final mid-fight with most of the resources up and available. Furthest one away is Deja Vu's Buck Wild. Not even that big of a deal, but look at these damage charts really quickly. Kubi's 171,000 on this Imani. Again, the fire stance. It's basically just vertical Shaolin that sometimes gets 2 arrows at once.
And hey, it seems to be working, at least as far as we're concerned. Anybody that can beat Strix and or Victor in terms of a damage run is going to win that for me. There's no Victor, but there is a Vivian, which is still a great mark, I think, for QBs to be at the very top here. So keeping things going forward. 4 ults available on both sides here. Well, I'm counting that Con ult is available, but it's not quite there yet. Still 16% to be able to be picked up. 4 ults for Ignite. Almost have that Dragon as well. It's up to this initial clash, and maybe up to Ganji to make the big difference here, because he could lock down that Eevee, who's been having a stellar performance. With the shots onto the ROM to start things off. At least is going to find some pressure, but no kills as of yet on this point.
I mean, he's been the difference maker all game. That's why I'm keeping eyes on him. And this Dragon now will have to be, I think, very impactful. But look at this. They just have this huge line. But they're all now staring at it. What will Deja Vu make from this? The Dragon goes around to Banana, but hiding. They all back up. They all run into Zeus' time and space again. He's been a monster on this Genos. You don't normally get to say that, do you, Gore?
No, I mean, Zeed's consistently finding. I've seen one, just one, parentheses 1, miss throughout all of this. It has been incredible from this Genos to be able to find this consistent lockdown. Deja Vu looking to get thrown off the map. Not much you can do about that one, but it doesn't matter. 99% for Ignite. No one touches, and they seal the deal there. Look, Khan, you were too busy trying to get the kill, and instead, they get the win. Ignite fight back from the brink of losing that one after that defense. Make sure things keep going their way, and now they're up 2-1, Kresnik. It's definitely coming up in their favor, but Tempest are not giving them an easy time.
Oh no, these games are all super duper close. I mean, so close they were under the pressure. They got that 1 kill. They're like, nice guys, yeah, we got the Buck. Yeah, let's go. Oh, We lose. They were just so focused. They were so focused on what was happening. They weren't paying enough attention to that objective. They thought Insane was going to be able to be there, but they weren't. Walther, again, not sure how new he is to this team. I do know that he added me on Paladins recently, and I'm like, who is this? But I guess now I know for sure it's him probably watching this broadcast if he's willing to toss a friend invite my way during this. Let's take a look at the stats for that game that I have here. Ornstein almost, he's second damaged on his team over Buck. That's kind of surprising to me. 120k on this EV. Self-healing actually pretty high for a game. I guess it went pretty long, but still, I love seeing these numbers now, how much Deja Vu got himself. Almost only 8k less than a Rom, whose whole kit is keeping himself in a fight.
I'm just impressed. Again, I mean, Penny being pushed onto the Rom, Ornstein going from Rom to Eevee and doing 120,000 damage. Yeah, like you said, the classic switch up. The good old 1-2 that you're so used to in Paladins. Very good game, I think, from Ignite as a whole. Even when things did get sloppy, I'm also curious to look at specifically Zeeds. I mean, 30,000 damage, 130,000 healing, but with the kills, because almost every single one of them had to come from ult shots. I mean, I'm thinking 2, at least
2.
5 that I saw were ults that I can remember off the top of my head. And that's just off the top of my head, which means somebody was doing it consistently enough to be able to make that happen, well, more often than not. Shoutouts to Zeeds for the ults. Whether or not they have been always on the mark doesn't matter, because 9 of those kills, at least 5 of those kills, were solid.
All right, Gort. Now, Chad's mentioning this, and I'll bring the camera back to us while I ask you. Imani ban? Is that what comes next?
Man,
is that the next stage? The evolution?
Who banned Talus in that last game? I believe it was Ignite that banned it.
Yeah, Ignite, I think, have been doing it every time.
What are you letting through if you ban that Imani? I mean, you're letting through a Victor, potentially. Well, Genos made it through there, so that tended to work out in their favor. There's a lot of bans. Is it worthwhile? Look, Kresnik, I don't know. She's got a 100% win rate. Like,
how do you argue with that? You can't.
You can't. Just fundamentally, obviously busted. Best in her role. We'll have to see, though. If I'm Tempest, I don't think I can. I can't in good conscience. If this is Worlds Finals, right? All right, so I'm sitting on the World stage. I've just lost 2 maps in a row, and they've been locking in Imani. I absolutely ban Imani coming into this. You switch to a target ban.
You think that, but when I think to the last Worlds Finals, which you had the pleasure of casting and I had the pleasure of being on the desk for, Knights were very complacent to just get destroyed by IO for about 4 or 5 maps in a row. But
they did do that.
Very different situation, I think, Imani, just another DPS. But I think we're going, as we head into picks and bans, to a map where she can play decently. It's Splitstone Quarry. It's another kind of vertical map. But the range, you might need more of a hit scan kind of style. You might need more hit scan for a map this wide, I guess.
So here's what works, Kresnik. On the maps where she's not going to be that great, and that's where you lock her in. This map, she can work here? No. You just don't do it. If you're Tempest team, you ban her out. No, you don't even ban her out. It's not going to happen. Either way, I'm actually excited to see this. Andrew has been a big conversation, but I'm more interested in the Buck, if I'm being honest with you. I think Buck on this map, especially if it's not first picked, I think Ignite could probably grab like a Buck Corvus and have a very good time through all of that. He is the one that always comes through. And of course, as I'm talking about Ignite being able to maybe scoop him up, Tempest grab him immediately because they recognize the prowess that Buck has on Splitstone.
Yeah, it's smart to do. I think Buck has been really impactful. Get Shapiru on that strong player on this Buck. I think it went well for them before, and he'll be able to control any side of the map. Really hard for a flank to duel, but Zin will do a great job, especially backed up by that Corvus mark. I mean, 25% lifesteal on a character that can cleanse caught in 30,000 different ways will help him stay alive in a lot of these fights. And Inora for a bit of a sustainy core, and looks like Ying backing that up too. So a lot of healing, a lot of sustain for Tempest team right now. Ignite, do you Willow? do you go Willow at this point with a Nara Ying Buck being picked up on the other side?
Man, if that Ying was, I don't know, Ying makes me want Willow. Buck makes me want Willow. I think if you do, you flex pick it at the very end. Mm-hmm. I think if Ignite, do anything, they hold it here. I'm just trying to figure out what Tempest team. I mean, Victor available, hasn't been locked in. Vivian makes it way down the line before she finally does get locked in. So things are shifting for these DPSs that come through. At least these hit scans But it's looking good. I like Ruckus. I like Victor. But like you said, actually, in this draft, I want Willow here. I want her more than anything now that Ruckus has been locked in. They're just so stationary.
Yeah, I mean, Ruckus can dive her, but Willow runs away. The Fae Flight is tough to play into the Victor, but this is a map where you can kind of just put yourself behind the saw that's above point and shoot straight down, and the Victor can't really answer you, but only one pick remaining for Ignite Gaming, and it's Kinessa. So they play a sniper instead to really kind of win that duel. I'm thinking, what do you do here? You put Vivian inside Quarry. You put Vivian inside that close range area. Xin controls lava. Kinessa plays up top, kind of uncontested. As soon as they don't pay attention to the bleachers, she just blinks over and destroys your team. That's what snipers do. You have to look at her the whole time.
Victor going to be under pressure a lot of this. And that's typically when you see a sniper picked off, at least in the bans, typically you want the other one on your side. Ignite Gaming going to have a distinct advantage there. Victor is going to be in trouble for a lot of this one. Buck as well. I mean, he might be able to somewhat consistently get back there. But Xin should lock him down. And honestly, if I'm worried about anything, especially as this Inara, as this Ruckus, I'm worried about mini Ruckus on the other side. Vivian's going to have a pretty easy time shredding them, like you said, maybe playing down there in bleachers. So I'm not too worried about Ignite Gaming. I think they've got a solid draft. Fernando's maybe the weakest portion of it, but there's not anything to distinctly counter him, so I think he's going to be just fine, like we saw, if you remember it, way back when, considering how long Stone Keep was on Bazaar, when they were able to pick it up and have it look good there. Or I'm thinking even further back, Brightmarsh. No, where am I? My brain just melted.
Nando was on Bazaar.
There we go.
He was. Yes, I know. The OBS crash really messed with our tempo here, and we'll see the tempo that they can keep on the side of Tempest team if they can kind of, or Ignite, excuse me, if they can kind of keep this stalled out here. Looking at this, Deja Vu, Penny, Zeeds, Kubies, and Ornstein here. It looks like actually, I think these drafts were actually given to me flipped, so I'm going to. No, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it on streams because last time I did this, it crashed the game. So we're gonna do this right here in front of everybody. Oh no, I am sorry, but here we are. Ignite being the team with Deja Vu being the one on the left side. Nothing ever happened. I don't know what you're talking about right now. Redemption. This Corvus on the right, healing Shapiro, keeping the stalemate going, but really neither team has taken a leg up yet, but there's a lot of damage coming into Tempest that this Corvus is trying to keep up with.
It's going to be difficult to misplace an Inara with a Ying behind her, but again, I like this Kinessa. I like the DPS on the side of Tempest team. It's just about the pressure that they have going for them. And since it's not Ignite running this, Fernando, that's maybe a question mark to be said for Tempest as to whether or not they can keep it up. But that is why QB's just going to have a rough game, I think. If you show your head, one side you're going to get popped by Kinessa, the other side you're going to get popped by Xin. And the third side, maybe you win a victory if you're lucky against the Vivian. So there's a lot of pressure onto this Victor to perform, and not a lot of avenues for him to do it.
Yeah, and Ruckus wants to make space for that Victor too, but he can't get onto that Kinessa with that Xin in the way. With that Xin just playing inside lava, the smartest place to be. Ganchi at any time can just blink on top of bleachers and do quite a bit of damage here. Actually, whoa, there goes Victor flying away from the booby trap. But Ganchi puts himself in the low ground. Now Warrens can get onto him, but he has the transporter. He'll escape. May have been kind of a stalemate, even with Kubi's falling for Ignite.
I mean, I've been looking at it, kills. They've been coming up red. Pressure feels like it's been coming up red. That's 99 to 66 in favor of this Inara. Still alive, hanging around down there in bleachers. Ruckus caught out by Shapiro, but not enough that they're going to go down. Good snipe from Kinessa. Finds the 2-tap onto Deja Vu. I guess you add a couple of bullets in there in the middle because of the auto rifle that came through. So at least holding on to that one now, going up in the sky. Ying, I shouldn't say going up in the sky. Confusing her with Willow here because we talk about her so much. The healing comes through for the team, but it's not going to be enough to give them the pressure they need. In fact, they're getting slaughtered under bleachers. A great set of kills for Tempest team. This payload should start off without a hitch.
Yeah, Shapiro helps clean up, and peeling for Walther, I think, was the biggest thing there, keeping him alive, keeping the Vivian pressure on in main. The Sentinels here, smart to do it. I think they'll have plenty of time to charge it back up, especially with an Inara here running down to feed into you. But the seismic crash misses. They want to fight this Vivian so hard, they're committing a ton of resources into it, not finding anything.
I mean, just trying to move it forward, and like you said, you can commit, I think, too many resources if you're Ignite Gaming into any one of these on Tempest team. It doesn't seem to be working out for them. Ganchi finds QB once again, looks for the Ying as well in the back line, way deep as these shots come through. And I'm just trying to figure it out. I mean, this is typically where I start talking about how the sniper is going to have slightly worse angles, but it doesn't seem to be hurting anybody on the side of Tempest team with the amount of aggression they have. Retlaw's getting aggressive. Everybody on Tempest is able to kind of move forward. Finally, Ganchi bites off more than they can chew. Look how far this payload's moved.
Yeah, nowhere else really for them to go, I think, on this push, though. They have to leave, and they'll disengage. Staying alive is really important. And they even managed to absorb some of that barrage, too. Kubi's spending one shell for this. But Ignite, I think, smartly move forward. They want to retake this positioning up front, but they can't ignore the bottom area. They don't want to take an unfair fight here. Don't want to give Tempest as big of an advantage as possible. So just playing smart, but they have to use that Illusory Rift to keep their team healthy. But the health sustain is what will help them win fights, and it does with that early turnaround with Deja Vu.
At least finding that one kill. I think help, well, I was going to say help get them back on track, but then they lost 2 in the process. Make that 3, make it 4 here in a second. The bullets ring true. So now you have 30 seconds, Kresnik, to try and get back to that payload. It's going to take a little while to do so. Dismounts, it looks like they're going to be coming true on the side of Ignite Gaming. Might even be able to get one really big stagger kill if Shapiro ends up just taking one step in the wrong direction or one focus onto the wrong target. Looking to burn down the Inara. If this is a mid-fight, that'd be important. They still have now 10 seconds left to try and get back to this payload. They should get the touch, but it's about trying to convert it from about 60%. That really makes a difference as we go here into overtime.
I think it was just too early of a touch by Insane, because now he had to back up and get re-healed. I guess it ends up being fine. They give up that space. I thought maybe he went so early that they wouldn't have someone to replace him, but Zin gets forced to go in. Barrage just gets eaten up by this shield. He knows he can block, but Insane actually just takes the last one right to the back, doesn't turn around for it. They end up losing Vivian on the side as well.
That's going to be one big thorn in their side, trying to keep this moving forward without some of their main damage. But Insane stays alive, gets good healing. He's going to be able to hold on to the payload for a little bit longer. Look how fast that overtime timer wants to disappear. You can't take that step! No, just one step too far back! And that's going to cost them the defense there. Ignite Gaming are going to be able to pick that up. Unfortunate there for Insane. Still alive, still moving fine. That's I guess the power of overtime. You can keep it as long as you want, but it will betray you if you decide to leave, even for 1 second.
That's what I get for going away. I'm like, all right, he shielded back up. Nothing could possibly happen on point now, and then he walks right off. Although, his team was losing a lot of people. Deja Vu had a fantastic flank, and I think that fight was going to go Ignites anyway. With all the ultimates that are up for Tempest team, they can't feel too bad about it, forcing out the barrage. The Illusory Rift not quite available yet either. See what I think they can try to do with these resources. No guillotine though, so no execution, only really immortal as the big impact ultimate here, I think. And Insane, it's all on what he can take with that and who he can support.
Well, it's forced out up here already. Keeps Retlaw alive, but maybe not the best thing. Hexafire going to answer it in kind. Not going to find a lot of damage in retaliation. Look at where Tempest team is positioned, and notably, it's just not on the point. They're pushed back, and this Buck Wild finds the headshot, trades out his life where Deja Vu does. So he gets aggressive there. Vivian trying to find the damage, but it's 54% to 0. Ignite Gaming have maintained control of this, no problem. Fernando, this insane player, having issue trying to get things locked down for themselves. To move on in, still half health before that shield comes up. It's very difficult, I think, as this Fernando to withstand this Inara. Even now, 84% to 24. Barrage looking to get dropped. Didn't really find a whole lot. Gets canceled and maintained at 60%. So does that Entropic Breach drop down to stop Deja Vu? But they're not stopping the main thing, Kresnik, the point capture on the mid-fight, 99 to 39. So they finally move back in if you're Tempest team, but I don't know, I don't feel confident in this.
I think Deja Vu was doing a great job turning them around, but no one was really able to follow up. Kubi's maybe needed to just throw one grenade, but didn't get the angle. Now Ganchi will be able to free fire onto this objective. With the Inara having to leave, both tanks disengaging. They have enough time, I think, to get their respawns, though, with only 75% cap. But they have to pressure Ganchi, because if they don't do it on the way back in, it's Eagle Eye Kanessa. He's going to do whatever he wants. He wins the first fight, though, and the barrage might keep them out for the retouch.
Well, they're going to be able to get a little bit of damage up there onto Shapiro, but it's not enough. Lock that down on its own. Shots are ringing true. Good headhunter to get rid of the healer there. Deja Vu, Zeeds, Ornn, all taken down. One more goes Penny. And even though Victor stays alive, they lose the point here 99 to 99. Tempest team once again find themselves aggressing forward. What do they need to change? I mean, last time, the payload push didn't necessarily go their way, and at the end of the day, it was because Insane took one step in the wrong direction. But is there a better way to not get into overtime, to try and seal this beforehand?
I think they need Kubis to push into Ganchi as soon as Deja Vu jumps up, right? When Ganchi took that far right angle, that's when Kubi should have tried to help him take that fight, but he didn't. He kept trading into damage on point. That didn't really matter in the end. Penny would have survived without him. Play into that a little bit more, and here finally, when Kubis pushes with the team that's pressuring, he gets the kill, and Deja Vu follows up onto Insane as well.
They're finding themselves some kills in retaliation. Retlaw locked down. Insane gone in the ground. It looks like one more might be following them. They can get Shapiro on the retreat. Zen is just a wily one. Makes it out this time around. And as long as he's live, he's happy. At least on the side of Tempest team. But I'm looking at a minute and a half, and instead of where they were last time, they've got 9/10 of the way, let's call it, to continue going. 90% of the push still left. And there's the assert dominance aggressively. Retlaw locked down. Ganchi, Redemption, all taken down here. A couple of members of Tempest make it all the way back there to the payload. But what are you really getting when you're this far behind? If anything, maybe some percentage, but are you going to get the full backdoor? I'm going to say probably not.
Yeah, I liked how Penny was really debating whether he needed to drop down or not, sitting up top like, all right, I'm on their high ground. Do I want to help my team fight the card? All right, fine, I guess I'll back up and give it. Shapiro, by the way, still alive back here. There's no way he lives any longer than this. He could even spike himself up, and he does, but Deja Vu saves it at the last second. I was about to say, that would be a really bold move, and he goes for it, but luckily for him, not guillotine, not as important to have, kind of just a mobility ult a lot of the time when you're running that Yomi. As Tempest team now trying to retake this area, but 2 minutes already burnt from the clock. I think Ignite Gaming defense has looked fantastic.
Shots look to be ringing true. 30 seconds left though. This payload has not left essentially where it has been at the beginning. They might as well do the full thing in overtime at this point. They have 15 seconds left. Neo's going to get this to start moving. QB says, Barrage, what are you willing to commit to a defense here? It's far enough away. Probably don't need to drop any ult, but it might just help seal the deal. Then he gets locked down. Tempest are getting aggressive. They're going to be able to get themselves into overtime here pretty successfully. It's going to cost them a couple kills in return. They lose their support. They lose Shapiro on the Zen. So now even if you hold on a little bit longer on this payload, what do you have coming for you? It's going to be one really, really dead Fernando. Finally taken down. Overtime going to go away. We stay tied up here in game number 4.
Ignite Gaming, hold on. With their aggressive defense really gave them a lot of time to put on the pressure and not let. Tempest team really set up. They have time to set up what they want because that cart was under so much pressure. When they want to pressure Ganchi, they can do it together. They send people around. They send Ornstein. They send Buck in at about the same time to get onto him. But this Ganchi has really been, I think, the star for them right now. Literally 1 point away from 110,000 on his side. We'll hop around to check some different builds for everybody there. Wrecker now being bought by Penny, they're realizing how much Insane's doing on this objective. I think what they really want from Tempest team is they want to force out that Immortal again, right? Ignite, if they can force out that Immortal the same way that it was last time, it wasn't really impactful. That was an ultimate they could have countered by walking away, but they spent an Immortal to do it instead.
And we'll have to see if they're able to get it. There's going to be the Illusory Rift, so healing galore for Ignite Gaming. I'd expect to see them get a little more aggressive than they are right now with that. Barrage going to be queued up, dropped down. It's going to find some good damage up there onto the high ground, but not enough to find a kill just yet, and it didn't force out that Immortal, as you pointed out. Sentinels available. Headhunter used. Tempest team, I don't know, they're right in this perfect position. There's the Hexifier, Kresnik, but finally they pull out that Immortal.
And that was exactly where they should have used it. They used it perfectly, but they were capping the whole time, and no one comes in. The timing of it, Insane did it to save his team, but forgot about the objective.
I'm just going to let this one rest for a second. They captured that by not winning a fight. They didn't do anything. They didn't necessarily seal the deal. They didn't win. They didn't get kills. They just kept you locked away if you're Tempest team. And so unfortunate for them. I mean, yeah, cool, you're getting kills now. What's it matter? And you're down 3-2. Ignite Gaming in a position to try and win this one all right here. Take your time. Get back onto that point. You got a minute and 50 seconds. So you can just go ahead, relax a little bit. They don't have many ults on the other side. Headhunter, recharge, as well as the Spite, and that Entropic Breach. But it's what can you do with those? It's going to make the difference here. Unfortunate for Tempest team. Now I just wait and see. I'm playing the Patience game. I want to know if Ignite Gaming can convert this.
They might be able to. The card is moving, but the backline is getting just destroyed over here on the side. Penny, I gotta say, the mid-fights like that feel great as an Inara, though. Because you're just on point the whole time. They just don't touch. You just sit there, you cap. You're like, all right, wow, I did my part, huh? What are you guys doing on the other side of the map? But Tempest, we keep seeing this done on this map. Not normally what teams are able to kind of get away with. Both teams are doing this aggressive zone style, going in real far for this. But Tempest giving up a little bit earlier than Ignite did on their side. And Shapiru messes up the world too, caught into the wall, Insane in the middle of their team, but not really making a big difference. Has to rotate the cart. Now he's being surrounded by Penny.
Shots are going to be good. They're back on the payload. It's moving forward. Barrage is going to be able to get some damage out there. Again, not finding any big kills. Just setting them up. Retlaw goes down one more time. They've got 3 people left standing as of right now. Try and defend. But luckily, again, defense proximity. You're going to be able to respawn, jump back down into the fight, no problem. It's whether or not you can keep it up. Buck Wild just charged up and ready. I'm excited to see it, and there's going to be the pop ready to get aggressive. Going to be able to put some damage into the Fernando. Just a shield, though, as of right now. Going to be able to take that one down after a few shots, but you lose QBs. They've got 10 seconds left. This time, they're paying attention to the objective, and they're going to be able to stop this. A couple of kills coming out at the right moments as well. Feels like we're going to a 0.7 here in Game 4.
Yeah, with the defense there, really hard for them to push in. Ignite really didn't get a chance to test the waters before, but how do you push on Splitstone into a Vivian and a Kinessa? How do you do that? You don't. Vivian,
sadly.
So much damage. Kinessa, yeah, you wait on the grayscale and watch them hold, is what happens when you try to push into that. But now they're back on a mid when they can kind of cross that distance a little bit easier into Ganshi. Ganshi won't have the safety of the spawn door behind him if they end up getting close enough. It's going to be important, again, to pressure Ganshi. The key to Tempest's win, I think. But I also liked what they did last time. They timed the Hexafire super late. Insane had to get off point and use the Immortal. If he hadn't done that, the team would have died and they would have lost anyway. But they timed it so well that when he tried to get back in, Penny walls him off. They get the win again. I just don't know if they can really expect that to happen again, right? You don't have that happen twice in a row. But still, Ultimate's a little lighter for them. No Illusory Rift. They only have the tank ones to work, and they're already pushing into an early Headhunter.
And being able to get aggressive. Seismic Crash thrown out. Hexafire just charged up. Buck Wild not available. Same thing with that Barrage as they were used too close to the end of the round. Not a lot of ults available for Ignite, but honestly, at the perfect timing that they'll come back up in maybe those crucial moments. Kinessa's finding good shots, but not finding anything. Here's that Hexafire. Finds one, sets up another. Didn't quite find the kill there onto the Corvus. But Corvus and this Fernando both incredibly low. Immortal forced to be used in the back just to stay alive, but it's not going to give them a lot of ground. It's 60% right now, Kresnik, as they hold on to this one, pushing it forward. A good zone. Fernando up on the high ground, but again, no Immortal. That shield can only last so long. Tropic Breach dropped onto the point. It's doing a lot of damage and good control, but it's 99% to 9. Fernando, the only one standing there because everybody else on the side of Tempest team is getting erased in the backline. One more shot finds the kill on the tank. Another one finds the Corvus. A third one finds Shapiro. And Ignite Gaming, with one step away from this Kinessa, find themselves the final point and the final map here as we end Brazil 3-1. Good from Tempest to push them to the distance. Just a couple of crucial mistakes end up costing them a few points there on Splitstone.
And I want to remind everyone that Ignite were looking like second or third best team in the region, and Tempest are now 0-6. But they're pushing Ignite to that almost every single game. I think the only one that wasn't a 4-3 that they lost was Bazaar, which was a 4-1, and that was also, who expects Imani to be coming out on the other side. And that even then, even with a 4-1, the fight still felt close.
Yeah,
Tempest team really pushed him to the edge.
And it was really well done. Like you said, all of these maps, like the shortest one was 5 points in total, but then 6 points and then 7 points for these last two, being able to hold on to it so well. The only difference is, again, it's always the small things that you can tell if Tempest team clean them up. This set maybe is a win for them. It's things like accidentally stepping off of the payload in overtime. It's things like using your Immortal and then watching as the point gets captured right next to you that are going to need to change for them. But again, two things as a team that is 0-6 that ultimately has been taking off, several points on one of the teams that has been competing for those top slots. I think they've done a wonderful job today. And compared to what we saw last week, I'm excited to see what this team can do to really push the envelope in Brazil.
Oh, I think they will for sure, and especially this trio now that they have. Darius, again, not sure if he's in or not for the rest of it, but Walther, I think, did a great job for his first game with this team. Look at those DPS, 163, 133, 143 across the board for the three of them. So much damage dealt. But I guess that's to be expected against effectively 3 tanks from Ignite, right? Inara, Ruckus, Buck, all absorbing 100k damage each as we jump to the kills, deaths, and assists, which look a little bit more fair. Ignite's not looking what you'd expect to see from the winning team, but that probably has to do with the constant defenses where Tempest team were kind of getting the better of them. And how do they get onto those back lines? Tempest played their draft well, but not well enough to win against a team that has been playing as well as Ignite have.
And you can kind of see, I think, where things start to fall apart. Slash lines look great for them. I think on all sides, they all come out pretty average. It does just come down to that point control. Penny, I think, having an Inara versus a Fernando maybe gave a little bit of an edge to one side versus the other. And ultimately, they end up controlling that map, finding themselves the win. And again, Ignite Gaming continue their pathway here in Brazil, at least to continue and fight for second, as everyone still follows right behind Parallax Kresnik. I mean, they're so close, but still, there's one team you got to take down, and so far, no one's been able to do it.
Yeah, but they have time to do it. They have a 15-week season. As we've mentioned, it is a very, very long phase. A lot of games to go left for that. And there's still a lot of games left to go today. Stick around. After this break we're going to go to, it's going to be North America Sanguine versus Team Project. See you on the other side.